which is to do. I was hoping to do, what I can show you is catch them all. Will be 2 people, 20 players. But I will try and hopefully try and get a few sport events done. Hopefully I'm players who are max level who are doing the sport events, but there's enough people so I should be able to do the event on the free to play Fishing Planet, but unfortunately there's too many people in the events, and no my luck, I will probably not get anywhere near a top spot to be able to do much, but I can show you still tips, tricks, and the little things that I do. Is if you do the 30 days, skip, so you get the 30 days, so you get the bait coin and a free casting spoon, or casting spinner, or maybe a casting bass jig, which you do get. If I can show you here, because obviously these are the types I've got. These 3 here, the X series ones, when you hit the 30-day mark. I accidentally went and did one with DLC stuff, and unfortunately, because I did that, it's ended up damaging them quite a bit on durabilities, and that's just for skipping 30 days. Now to repair all 3 of them, it's 156 bait coin. Now luckily, because I'm on the Fishing Planet, if I catch uniques, I get bait coins, so I'm not too worried about repairing them to a later date. So I went to the shop on the game and bought the standard stuff, which isn't DLC, for my level, just to make it a little bit easier, so I don't actually end up having to pay bait coin to repair them. So obviously I've gone for,
which is a better alternative anyways.
Yeah. So obviously I've gone for the comfort camper, so it gives me a bit more tackle online, and I've gone for at least a good enough fish net, which is the Fish Hut Large. It's given me an extra bit of weight, but maximum fish not so much. At the moment I'm not going to be going for any other monster fish. When I do, I will have a bigger keep net, for the obvious reasons. The monster fish, you need to have the big enough net to hold the fish. Right, so firstly I'm going to show you the rods that I've got. Obviously I've got the Omnial Float, which is I'm pretty sure it's a match rod. Yep, and it's one of the first match rods. It's not the match rod you get for free, but it's the one I've bought, which is a standard low level starter rod out of the matches anyway. So obviously to make the rod optimal for how I play, like again I said in the other video I did, I look at the line weight for my rod. So the max line weight for that rod is 6.5. Now you can go for something that's a bit lower for the reel wise on the max drag. You need your max drag to be around the same as your max I'll say that again. You need your max drag for your reel to be close to what your max line weight can be. It can be under, which is absolutely fine, and it can be a little bit over. Obviously when you get a high level, you'll see that your max line weight, you're going to have more line weight than what you will have on your max drag for your reel later game. But for a starter game, it's usually good to get a reel that's a bit better, which can bring the fish in, and it's not going to be too much of a problem. Obviously for this version of the game, I've actually used some bait coin, and I got Fluoroline, which is £6 test. So I'm optimizing the best line I can have for my rod, which also goes with the reel. Yet again, still for the rod, or is it a bit too high? I can't remember why I've chosen titanium at the moment. I'll double check the reason why. Do I have any access to any fluoro? I do, but it's a bit weak to my standard. If I was going to go for the fluoro, I'd need to wait till I'm level 14 to be able to get the right test for the rod. So that's why I've gone for titanium. It's not going to affect my fishing at the moment, and it won't affect anyone else's. When you do get to level 14, I would suggest, as long as you're not fishing for pike, go for a fluoro leader, because that will help your rod and your reel and your line out. Now for the feeder, I've gone for the actual starter feeder, which is the Creeker Pro. As you can see, again, it's a 6.5 pound line weight, and I've gone for the same reel as I did with my float. Again, it's got the same line, £6 test, and it's got a titanium leader, and obviously I've put a bell on it, so when I cast out, I'll know when the fish is biting and taking the hook and the bait. And I've gone for a casting rod this time. I'm pretty sure that's the casting rod, the value cast. So yeah, it's a casting rod, because of the reel at the bottom is a casting reel, which isn't a spinning reel. Just so people can tell, I'll zoom on one of these. Right, it's not going to show it pretty well. Now, obviously, a spinning reel has more of a spinning motion. It's basically got, what is it? Well, there's the reel mostly in front. That's how you can tell it's a spinning reel. When it's a casting, hopefully this shows a bit better.
And for some of the casting rods and the spinning reels, certain lures work much better with certain ones.
Yeah.
For example, your top water lures are probably much better off using a casting rod versus a spinning rod.
But then it depends, on a person how they feel using their rod and the reel as well. For me personally, I would usually go with a spinning than a casting, but because I've got a casting rod, because of the tutorial for the Fisherman Fishing Planet, this was the last rod I had set up, and I was like, right, I'll use my casting, so people can see the difference without it being a spinning rod. But the casting rod will go from your right hand to your left, and that's when you start using it. The spinning rod, it actually stays in your right hand the whole time, if I remember rightly. Now, usually for a casting or a spinner, I would always suggest having a leader on. When you're at, I will suggest having a leader on. When you go to Rocky Lake, usually have a fluoro leader, because then you might get a few more bites a bit quicker. If you go anywhere that has pike, like Emerald Lake, St. Croix, and a few other locations, even White Moose, then I suggest putting a titanium leader on. At the moment, I'm not going to use any leader for my casting or spinners, because I'm not going to a location where I'll probably be using it as much, so I won't really need it on me. What we're going to do is we're going to now go to Lone Star Lake, and I'm going to do a few of the slight challenges to help anyone who's new to the game, just to learn a few things a bit easier and a bit better. Obviously when it loads, which can sometimes take a bit of time. When it loads, which it now has. Right, what I'll do, just in case anyone joins us, I'm going to put on friends only. Right, now anyone who's played Fisherman Planet will know that through the game. So I'm going to spawn us next to the house, home sweet home. And we'll go from there. Right. Obviously, anytime you join the game, you'll get a notification. Well, you'll get a daily bonus for every day you've joined. and obviously it get resets every 24 hours from the game server time. Right, let's just have our hands free. Now, as I mentioned in the last stream, surprised you have to hold on to that. On this map, you'll see that there is a compost pile. Now, if anyone's watched the other stream, when you come up to this, it'll prompt you with a triangle to say interact or whatever game platform you're playing on. It'll ask you maybe to interact, and this is the free-to-play version, and you'll get red worms. Now on the paid version, now this is mostly on console, you come up to it and say, and there's no prompt. So unfortunately, getting red worms from the compost pile is very rare and very hard. Unfortunately, I don't have any trick to say, oh yeah, we can get the red worms. Unfortunately. Now, a few things I've noticed when new people start the game is they'll have their rods up like when it's in this position. Obviously, I don't think it goes through in the tutorial about how to change it from, you know, underhanding short as it is to actually so you can cast as far as possible. So what you do is you hit R3, and this is for the consoles. I'm not sure what the command is for PC version, but some people might know exactly what that command is, or it might be easy to search up. But like I say, all you do is hit R3, and then you're able to cast a bit further than being really short on the casting distance. Now, what I wanted to do, I can't remember what I wanted to do now. What was it? Yes, that's it. Right, now obviously, when you come to your profile of your character, or person, or your player, there are challenges on the right hand side. Now, some of these challenges will help you get your bait coin. It'll ask you to do certain little challenges. Now obviously, when you go to a location for the first time, you'll get a bait coin, and it'll say, you know, Lone Star Ranger Part 1. Now you'll see, obviously what I've highlighted is what the second part will be. So we have to go to 5 days and we'll get 3 bait coins. So what we're going to do is we're now going to skip to day 5. So what I'm going to do is press square, which will bring up this panel for fast forwarding. Now, anyone who plays the free version, and obviously Dark Shadow Vamps will agree with me, it is different from the free to play version. On the free to play version, it actually has the indicator of the time of your peaks for fishing. The trick I'm going to show you is how you can fast travel, well, faster forward time without having to wait for the cooldown period. That's if you want to do this really quick. What we'll suggest though is you use or take lower tier gear as an outfit, you know, the rod stand, the fish net, the waistcoat, even the tackle box, or you could leave most of that stuff back and only have the bare essentials on you if you're just going to skip all the way through. If you have higher tier stuff on the waistcoats, it will cost a lot. Now obviously if you go to somewhere like St. Croix, White Moose Lake, you might just end up fishing every single day, then skip to the next day until you get to day 30. Obviously by that point you would have hopefully enough bait to be able to last you them 30 days, but it will be a grind. Obviously on the Fisherman Planet the days aren't as much as it is from the free to play version. Same goes for the travel cost, it is actually a bit cheaper. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip to the night, and now we're going to fast forward 24 hours, so I would say plus 1 day, And obviously because we're on Lone Star, which is your starter area, it doesn't cost you anything to extend the day, which is a slight bonus for anyone starting for the first time. So let's get to day 5. And hooray, we've now got Lone Star Ranger Part 2 done. Now, we've got the free bait coin, awesome. We've also now, and this is on both versions, a marker buoy. Now, a marker buoy obviously helps you mark where you catch a fish or where you want to. You start off with a default of 46 marker buoys already. The free-to-play version, you start off with, I think it's 1 or 2. So for the free-to-play version, doing these 5 days, if you don't want to pay for bait coin, it is the best way to do it. And this does help you out quite a bit, so you get extra markers. But on the paid version, it's not so much of needing them, but it is a good way to get some bait coin a bit quicker. But now I'm going to quickly show you, because of the gear we're using. Now the durability was at 100%, so like I say, each day will affect your clothing and items and gear, apart from the rods. The durability on your rods will only go down if you're using them, so it's only when you're using them, not if you skip time. It's only clothing that get affected by the days. Right, so because we know we've done 5 days, we're going to see what we'll get when we get to day 30, which is 5 bait coin and an X series float. So now what we're going to do is we're going to skip to day 30 for the float, which luckily, because we've done it to night time, this won't take as long if you had to do it from each day, because you skip to next day, it will put a timer on and a cooldown timer for you to be able to skip again. Wrong button. I'm hitting the wrong buttons now. Oh, I love that when I do that. Good thing I didn't leave, because I would be annoyed. There you go. That's how I say, just by doing this, it will help. Just get to day 30. Dum-de-dum. We'll get to day 30. Yeah, we'll all get there. Yeah, day 30. Eventually. Oh no. See, now I've messed up. Now luckily, on the paid version, you have a chance to be able to go forward extra. On the free to play version, I would have to now wait an X amount of time before I would be able to skip forward again. So I was kind of lucky there. And I will be able to prove that fact once we get to day 30, because I'll skip to the... I'll skip to the morning, that's... No, it won't leave a problem. We'll skip to day 30. We'll take a bit of time, we're almost there. 8 days. Day 26. Almost there. Day 29. And now we're going to skip just to the morning. Day 30. Huzzah. So obviously we've now got 5 free bait coins and we've got a free float for our float rods or match rods for free. So it does save you a bit of bait coin or cash for getting them. Now, like I said, if I wanted to... okay. I guess they've changed that then for the paid version then. Because before I'm pretty sure there was a cooldown period. Weird. There is no cooldown period. There usually is. I'm guessing it's mostly the free to play version which has a cooldown period, because as you may notice if you're watching this, it usually says there's a cooldown period at the bottom when you're fast forwarding, but it's not doing it. So I'm guessing they've changed it on the free to play the paid version where there's no cooldown period. So cooldown period for paid version, there isn't. Free to play one, there is a cooldown period. But the best way to get past all that is literally go to the night time, because in the description of skipping forward it does say going to night there is no cooldown period. So skip all the way through the nights, then just skip to the morning and you can fish. That's if you just want to get through to day 30. So now we've done that challenge. I keep hitting the wrong button. That one. There is, when it comes up, a couple of other challenges. If I can find it. Now obviously when it's about cleaning the lake, it's just getting out debris like the weeds, branches, turtles, crayfish. Best way to do that challenge a bit easier is a casting or spinning spoon, casting or spinning reel. It doesn't really matter what type of lure you use, as long as you snag and bring it in free, then obviously you can't do that challenge anymore for that location, but you could then go to the next location and do the challenge again. I think you have to get a maximum of 50 items if I'm not mistaken. I might be 25, I can't remember to be honest. Now there is a challenge to do, obviously like I'm showing, the night shift is catching fish at night. If I remember rightly, it's up to 50 fish, which is the part 3, I think. When you complete that, you get a free, I'm going to say this again, you get a free hat with a light on it, which can be very helpful, especially early game, because obviously if you want to night fish, you can use the torch to be able to see what you're looking at, even to see your float in the distance. With some of the stuff you get on the floats, you're going to get a night float, so you'll notice when it's there or not anyway. And obviously with the float indicators, you're going to know if you've got anything at night time anyway. But if you want to be more realistic, and I think you can turn them off in the settings somehow, you know, you want to see your float, you've got the light there to be able to see, which is pretty handy. There are a few challenges you can do, which is like, you know, catching fish over time will give you bait coins. Some of them will either end up giving you a free casting spoon or float, or even maybe a rod, even a reel, depending if there's an event on for the challenges. But you know, all these will help anyone who's first starting to play the game out, especially when it comes to Baitcoin. Mostly more for the free-to-play version than the paid version, because obviously you can get Baitcoin by catching unique fish. That's weird. That gives you cash.
The rarer the fish, the more the Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
And the bigger fish as well.
Oh yeah, because you go to the location for the first day, you get cash. Okay, that's why. I was wondering why that was saying cash for. But yeah, you can even see what you get for going to a location for the first time, which is usually 1 Bitcoin. Well, cleaning it's 1 Bitcoin anyway. Bit of cash for going to a location. But you can look at some of these challenges. There are a few challenges which are hidden, which is breaking your rod, which at some point I will have to try, and I really don't, but at some point I will have to try. And there's obviously breaking your reel. Starting game, if you're going to do it with your starter rod and your starter reel if you want to try the challenge. I'm not sure what you get throughout the whole thing. It might be 1 Bitcoin for doing it the first time. I think it's maybe 2 or 3 for doing it 3 times, and I think you have to do it maximum 5 times. Might be more, might be less. I can't really say because, like I said, I haven't done it myself and I haven't tried it. And to be honest, I haven't even looked it up. But I have seen people who've, it says broken a rod and reel, and I'm like, what? And it comes up as a person completing an achievement, and there's people who then go start breaking the rods and reels, and you're like, why? Why would you want to break your rod and reel? The only reason why they do it is because there is a hidden challenge to do it. Obviously, doing your missions will help you obviously get a bit of cash and Bitcoin. There are a few, which if I can find, if I have them, will give you experience. I think they're the mastering challenges, which for people who want to level up pretty quick, trying doing the mastering challenges does help quite a bit. Obviously, on this paid version, you're mostly getting what would be classed as a premium version on the free-to-play version. Obviously on the free-to-play version there's 2 types of experience and 2 types of cash, which is, one is a bit less, well, the standard on the free-to-play version is a bit less than what the premium version is, obviously, but the premium version is actually the same experience and cash as this version that I'm playing right now. Apart from the fact, if you get a unique, you get a Bitcoin on this version. On the free-to-play version, it's just cash. So just a warning on that part, because I know some people usually go, oh, I thought you got this. Even I thought it once when I was watching a YouTuber thinking, oh, I'll go after uniques, I'll get Bitcoin. No, you get cash. And obviously, depending on the fish, can also mean a difference in what cash you make for the size fish. For a person who doesn't pay on premium, pike is a good source on the free-to-play version. But if you're a premium player, catfish or even gars are pretty much a really good fish to get, because you actually get a decent price and experience if you're premium or a person playing the paid version of the game than if you didn't have it, unfortunately. But yeah, as you can see, that's the loss on durability for the gear because I've skipped 30 days. So what we'll now do is we'll go out and then I can show you exactly what it will cost to repair it. And I know I haven't made any experience for fishing, and I made no cash from fishing. So obviously, when you need to return home, you will usually have equipment which goes down in durability, and you will be prompted to repair them. Now, obviously, the items I took off, which were DLC, will always prompt me to repair them. So obviously, if I hit now to repair all, The 153 bait coins are for my DLC items, which I'm not going to repair until I get the bait coin in, because I've only got 8. But the standard items or gear that I have is only going to cost me 516 credits, which isn't bad at all, especially starting. Now, if you're fishing a bit, that would be nothing in repairs. Even you catch, 2 fish each day, you'd probably pay that in one go. So because I can't repair all the items, I'll go to the ones that I can repair, which would be, I'm trying to figure out which one it is. So it'll be the fish hut at large, which is going to be the one that would cost me the most on the repairs. So I repair that. And now it has all these hidden ones. Okay. I must have had a bit of lag for the game. So obviously I've got to repair the rods, the tackle box, the rod stand, and the waistcoat. Now I repair them, I'll then cancel. That's that bit. Now if you had an item which you couldn't repair at the time, and then you forgot to repair that one because you didn't know which one it was, you can come back to your stash or your home. If it's a rod, all you have to do is unequip it, and then you can go up to repair it, because you'll have the repair icon, as you can see, the little spanner, and obviously there's a repair button on the bottom left. All you do is hit the repair, and it'll tell you how much it'll cost to repair it, and you can do that. You can do the same to your normal gear when I get to the right spot. Obviously when you unequipped it, it will usually go to your home, and it'll go to your stash, and then you can just repair it when you want to. Like the jacket, I can repair that, so now that's fully repaired. The cap, free bait coin, I can repair that. That's now fully repaired. The only thing I won't be able to repair at the moment is the fish, the fish net, because that's going to cost 145 credits. Bait coin. So if you do have DLC stuff at the start, do unequip them, unless you're going to a location where you're going to fish to catch uniques. That's if you're doing the 30-day skip. Unless you're going to fish the whole 30 days, then do take your DLC stuff, because you can easily repair it, especially if there's uniques at that location. Let's see. Obviously, if you get DLCs, it will usually give you a template of a rod setup, which you can either clear or keep, which can then automatically be made on your available slots, or it'll switch the gear around for you automatically. Dash box, it will not just automatically put an already cut line onto your reel. So even if you'd lost 10 durability on that reel, it won't put that one on, it'll put a fresh line on. So do be careful when you use a template.
I've encountered that one too many times.
Yeah, I did that. I was like, why isn't it putting that on? It's because it's obviously got it as a fresh set. So just be careful with that, guys. And obviously the templates will be the ones you bought for the DLCs. If you wanted to, obviously, if you have the slots and the space, as you can see, I've got an empty one. Because I've made this rod with obviously everything set up correctly, I can now save it as a template. I can take off the lure and the line, and then save the template just for the rod and the reel. It is allowed, and it will save it. So if you just want to, have them too, and remembered, it's fine. Obviously, the free-to-play version, you have to pay Baitcoin, unfortunately, to get the extra template slots, or pay for a DLC pack, which
every single DLC pack does come with a template.
Yeah, because obviously it gives you a rod and reel, and it will give you that template. It sometimes can give you an extra few templates. Obviously, if you want to buy just a few templates, but you've got the Baitcoin and you want to use your Baitcoin, you can. Best way is to go into the shop and then services, which I'll show now. And then you could buy exactly how many of templates you want. I'm guessing they only have, yeah, they only have the 5. Pretty sure they had more than that. It might be on the free-to-play version, which has a bit more. I've also noticed a difference. Beforehand, I thought the storage space was 400 for for this version of the game. It's not. It's actually 120 bait coins, which I was surprised about. At the moment, on the free-to-play version, even though it's 400, they have it as 300 bait coin. I'm not sure if they're going to take that offer off because it's been on for a whole year now. So I'm guessing they're keeping the 300 bait coin for storage space at 300 bait coin. They might decide to take that off, but they're still going to at least have it. They can get the extra storage space. You can also do the same for recipes. Obviously, the marker buoys, and like I said, the storage space. I should have gone over that quickly as well. Right, so I've gone over them few things. Now, do I have a ground bait on me? Because if I do, I can explain how to make a ground bait a bit better. I do, and I don't mind wasting it. Right. I'll travel back to Lone Star because it doesn't cost me anything. Right, I'm going to quickly go over ground baits or how to make up a ground bait, so people won't end up wasting a whole bag and be like, wasted it. Obviously, when you make up ground bait, it lasts for that day of the game. So if you made up ground bait and you decided, oh, I'm going to skip a day ahead, you will end up throwing that ground bait because you've wasted it. The ground bait is only for that game day. So what I'll do is I'll go to a one. Now, before you go onto your location, well, onto the map itself, I'm hoping you can still do it beforehand. Should be able to. Right. Obviously, we're going to now go to the ground bait recipes. Obviously, we've used in up, when I get to it, an empty slot. Now, obviously, you can make a recipe and save it, and you can also name it. The higher level you are, the more added components you can add onto a recipe. I think there's a max of 3 on each. Don't quote me, I've not really fully maxed my level out to know that. Some people usually go up to where is it? Up to that, select that, and want to mix the whole thing. If you're doing that, you could end up wasting the whole bag, and you might not use it. And if you want to go for a few, past a few days with it, there would be no point making a whole one bag. So you'll end up maybe buying like 5 or 10 bags just to use on one day. Well, to use on each day. To make one bag last a bit longer, you come to this menu. All you do is you hit equipped, obviously on the ground bait mix you want to use. And what we want to do is go up to at least, I hate this feature, make it go up to a 10, because every 10 you could then add at least 1 aroma for a mix. Unfortunately, I haven't got any aromas, or I'd be able to add, and it will add 1 drop for each 10. But that is the basics of how you make up a mix. So we'll make the mix now, which luckily, because this is classed as a premium, it takes 5 seconds. Huzzah! Right, now you've got your ground bait mix. To equip it onto your feeders, what you do is you go to obviously your ground bait mix results, and you obviously select that ground bait mix, and it will automatically put it in the circled slot. If you want to unequip it, you go up to it and you unequipped. What you can also do, if you want, is you can actually hit it to be equipped to your character, which we'll quickly do, and we'll show you exactly how that goes. So here again, we'll come on here. Now, if you're going to do tournaments or sports events, it's the best idea that you make a ground bait mix, then hit enter. Obviously, the yellow bar you see will go down automatically. You then enter the tournament straight away afterwards. When you leave the tournament, it will still stay at the percentage. It's just saying that your mix is dried up a bit because obviously you're travelling slightly. Right, so every time you have obviously a feeder, you'll obviously, as you can see, it's equipped in the ground. That was weird. I shouldn't have done that. It will equip the ground bait. I'll have to just quickly check, make sure I've actually got optimal weight for that, because if not, it'll end up throwing and it might snap. Yeah. Obviously, when you add ground bait, it will put on a bit extra weight to your feeders. So do check that when you've got it, you change your bait quickly, your normal bait, to make sure that it's not going to make your feeder go over and it'll end up snapping. Now, just to prove, I'm just going to do a quick cast. Say quick cast, about that. I'm going to read it in. So like I say, every time you use it, it will put a fresh lot in. As in, it's basically saying the lot you just cast it out with is in the water now. Because you brought your rod in, you put a new set in. So every time you do this with a feeder, it will reset it every time. Now, as you see, I have hand casting. Obviously, for a PC person, it would be the number 8 slot. This is what the numbers at the top actually mean, unless you're using mouse and keyboard. Now, obviously, with the hand casting, or if you have the catapult, you cannot pre-aim it. So knowing how far you're going to cast is a bit hard to judge, especially if you have to throw snowballs at a person in the Christmas event. Obviously, yeah, it's funny. Obviously, as you can see, you're using 7 ounces of ground bait. So obviously, I would only get 2 throws with this, which I will throw this one, and you can see how long it takes to re-mold. And obviously, it's almost the same as your rods and your reels, but you just can't pre-aim. But the power gauge will be exactly the same. So we'll try and max power it. Now we should be about 65 for your hand. Now if you don't use it, it's not wasted. So you can always go to your feeder. And for some reason that actually is been used, so on. Just so we don't waste anymore, we can unequip it. And we did lose it. Okay. Alright. I lost it. I didn't expect that. I thought usually on equipping it means you didn't lose it. Unfortunately, we lost it. Okay, well, that's one thing we've all learned at the same time. But yeah, by using by casting it by hand, if you're going to use the float rod, and you remember the spot is 65 feet out, by doing that, it can draw the fish in. And obviously, you have a rod stand and you've got a couple of floats out, even a feeder out, and it's at least the same distance. They're able to throw it, and it's the same distance as what you've casted. You could try and attract the fish into that area, maybe get a few more bites, which can also be quite helpful and handy at times. Which can draw fish in a bit quicker and a bit easier. And I'm thinking that's mostly it from what I know, which should help people out with fishing for beginners, to be honest. Do you have anything I could go over? I don't think there is anything else I can go over for this section. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's everything I can go over it, isn't it, Shadow?
So far, yep.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I was going to make this quite a bit of a short video. Yeah. But yeah, I hope everyone likes the video. And hopefully you're able to draw it. If there is any questions at any point, which I haven't gone over, please leave a comment, or if needs be, go to Dark Shadow Vamps page, YouTube, comment on one of his videos. He'll be more than happy to give you some advice and help you out. I certainly will help out in any way I can, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all enjoy the fishing. So I'm going to say goodbye from me today, and thanks for Dark Shadow Vamps for joining us.
Like always.
As always, hopefully we'll be able to get something a bit more done with it. Obviously I need to try and get the levels up a bit so I can join him on a few locations and we can have a bit of a laugh and fun as we always do, and we'll be streaming at the same time at that point. Like I say, hopefully on Sunday, fingers crossed, if not I'll have to try and get a few levels up. I will be able to do a few streams of the sport events, give you all a few tricks and tips on that, or where I fish, which probably won't be much, but at least you'll see me either do very well or fail miserably, and I'm going to guess I'm going to fail miserably while fishing, to be honest. But like I say, hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for joining me and obviously having the vamps with us.
Have a good evening.
Have a good evening or morning or whichever time you're watching this, and hope you enjoy the fishing and enjoy fishing and enjoy the game.